Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Holy and Hormonal podcast. My name is Kim Gargano. If you're new here, I created this podcast as a safe space for us to approach periods and our hormones from a Christian perspective. Today, we have a very special guest. This is our first in-person guest podcast, and it's with my best friend in the whole entire world, Nicole Flores.
Hi, guys. So happy to be here. Thanks for having me, Kim.
I love you so much. Nicole and I met 3-ish years ago. We were both living in Manhattan. We both met at church. We actually met in a small group on a Wednesday night in a very tiny West Village apartment. We sat next to each other, and I just knew that this girl was going to be in my life forever.
Literally.
And we just never looked back. And she has a brand called The Real Pause, which I'm excited to have her dive into in a little bit. And we're also hosting our first event. By the time this podcast comes out, it probably already happened. At the day we're recording it, it's tomorrow. And it's Holy and Hormonal x The Real Pause. And our goal for it is just to be joined in community with all you girls, meet you in person, just love on you, just support you in any way. We're so excited for it, and we can't wait to see what the Lord is going to do. So, Nicole, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks for having me.
Of course. Okay, so tell everyone about like who you are, what you do, where you come from, and like everything they should know about you.
Well, I'm based out of Puerto Rico right now, born and raised. I was there until I was 18, went to the U.S., studied in South Carolina, then ended up in New York City, which is where I met Kim. I'm a graphic designer. I work for myself and I love it. And Jesus found me in New York City, and it was a crazy story. So, I mean, I don't know if you want me to dive into that, or do you have any questions like that you want to ask? Or
Yeah, I mean, anyone who knows you or sees you for the first time, they know that you were born with a disability.
Oh yeah, I did forget that part. That's a big part of my life. I kind of like glance over that a lot because I feel like it's not my identity anymore. I feel like at the beginning of my life, like it was like the first thing that I wanted people to know about me, like before I even like walked. I was diagnosed with cerebral palsy, which essentially is like a neurological like disconnect between your brain and your body. So I've had 14 surgeries ever since the age of 24 months old till 14. It's been pretty hard life, but I've always had like my sisters and my family and my friends that were always there for me. But like I said, most of my life I made my disability my identity until I met Jesus. So I feel like that's why I kind of like didn't even say it when I introduced myself, which is great. But basically, I really like put my identity in that a lot. And so when I walk, I have this like walk to me, like I walk different, which before it was something that I was really ashamed of, something that really like hid from people, especially men. I used to like always put them in front of me first before I walked. Like I never wanted anyone to like see me. I would kind of play the game of like, I don't know how you call it here, but like when you do like 1, 2, 3 and then you look back and everyone's like frozen statue.
What is that called? I forget the name of it.
But you know the game I'm saying? Like, it's like you freeze.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the game that I played my whole life. Like, when people weren't looking, I would move. And then, like, it was just kind of like this thing. Yeah, that's something that really was a big part of my life at the beginning. And I would say that, I mean, since we met each other, I feel like I'd grown a lot already. But now, 3 years later, I've grown so much more.
Yeah, so go into your testimony a little bit, because I obviously know everything about you, but they don't know much about you.
Yes.
Yeah, so start from like the beginning.
Okay. So I was born and raised, like I said, in Puerto Rico. I was raised Catholic, which you know, and I was like very much like, I didn't want to believe in a God that gave me a disability. So I knew that God existed because like, to me, nature is so like amazing. Like, how could you not believe in a God that made the mountains and the ocean? And like growing up in Puerto Rico, it's so full of like nature and beautiful things. And I don't know, there just came a point in my life that I just felt like I didn't want to have a relationship with God because of what he gave me, or that's how I saw it at least. My mom would take us to church like every Sunday, like to Catholic mass, and I would just sit there and be like bored out of my mind and kind of annoyed because I was like, I felt like this God was so far away. Like I had to do all these things to get to know him, and I had to go through all these hoops and obstacles to like not go to hell or like be a perfect person, that I just kind of was like, I'd rather just like live a normal life, and like whatever happens when I die is whatever happens. So then I just lived a normal 18-year-old life. I went to college. I started dating a guy, which he's ironically a Christian. But that's not the reason why I like started being Christian, but that was the first time I can truly tell you that like I saw God's love for me through someone else.
Yeah.
Like I said, I put a lot of my validation in men. And so when I had my first boyfriend, I was like, wow, like this guy loves me with my disability.
Yeah.
And I was just like blown away by it. Actually, funny enough, like looking back, like he would pray for my meals and like do all these perfect like guy Christian, like in my head, like now I would want, but back then I was like, please do not pray for my food. Like this makes me feel very uncomfortable. Like you can pray for your food if you want, but please don't pray for my food. So that was like 4 years, and then I graduated, we broke up, moved to New York City, and this is where I feel like I hit my peak, but really I hit my rock bottom. I moved there. I was the coolest person ever because I like lived in New York City. I was going to school at Parsons for graphic design. I was really living life. Like I had an apartment on like off of 3rd and 14th Street in the middle of like Union Square. Like it was just perfect.
Yeah.
I started like going out a lot and kind of resorting to like drinking a lot. Like I never had a drinking problem, but I was very much like always wanting for it to be the weekend. Like, because I just wanted to get away and escape and just like drink.
Yeah.
And to meet men and just like hook up with them because that's what filled me essentially. And then I remember one night was when I really felt like this could not be how people just live life like forever. I went to what's that street where we had dinner party in the rooftop?
Was it Josh's?
Jane Street.
Jane Street. It was Josh's apartment on the rooftop?
God being God. Like he really redeemed that. So there was a night that I went to Jane Street. I don't think you know this story.
Yeah.
It was like New York the first year and a half that I was there, and then the last year and a half I was like Christian. So it was like my Jesus life. So I went out to the Jane, I think, because it's on that street. And so for context, when I go out, like, and I would drink, people would think I was drunk because of the way that I walk. And they would always be like, oh, like, watch out, like, don't fall. And so that night I was drunk, but it wasn't the reason that I was walking the way I was walking. And so the bouncer was like, no, you can't come in. Like, you're too drunk. And I was like, I mean, I am drunk, but like, you don't understand. And like me being like a little drunk, like I get really in my feels. And so my friends, I always have been surrounded by amazing friends. They took it a bit too far and they started like not a fight, but they were like kind of telling off the bouncer, like, how can you, like, she has a disability. And I was like,
Yeah.
And I hate being the center of attention. So then that happened. They didn't let me in, a whole scene. And I got to my apartment that night and I was like, I felt so empty and alone. I just didn't understand, like, life had to be more than that. And so fast forward to like at some point during the summer, I went to a birthday party in Central Park. And this is where our stories kind of start to mix in. I met Justin and a few other people that went to our past church. And it was a Sunday. And they were talking about church. And they were coming back from church. And they were speaking so cool of it. Like they were dressed cool. They were speaking about it cool. And I was just like intrigued. That's the only
Wait, so you met Justin in Central Park?
Yeah. I don't think you know this.
No.
Yeah.
Wait, I never like put two and two together of like how you ended up at his apartment that night.
It's crazy. It literally is crazy. So we met that day, and you know the kind of church invite where they're like, oh yeah, you should come next Sunday, and then like
nothing
falls off.
Yeah.
And then you're just like, how do I get to church like alone? But I don't know. I went out that Saturday. Like, so I lived my week, and then that Saturday I went out. I woke up hungover, and I just like, it was just this magnet. Now I know it's like
the
Holy
Lord
Spirit,
pulling you
like
in.
was like pulling me to go to church. And at the time, church was in literally Times Square. So I literally like got in an Uber, because that's another thing. Like living in New York City, you have to take the subway, you have to go up and downstairs, and like I've been blessed enough to be able to like take Ubers everywhere because of my disability. And so I got in an Uber, I got to Times Square, got there. Remember, it was COVID still, so we all had our masks, which made me feel good because I didn't know what was happening in the worship. I was just like, they're like,
it's a weird experience your first time.
I was like, have they been singing for 25 minutes?
Yeah.
And I want to leave. They did the raise your hand if like you want to give your life to Jesus. So I did, but I didn't even know what I was doing. It was just like, if you feel this pounding in your heart, and I was like, how does he know? And so I like raised my hand and someone prayed for me, and it was exactly what I needed. But it wasn't like the next day I was like, woohoo, I'm a Christian now. Like, no, I still kept going out. I still kept drinking. I still kept like doing things that now I think back and I'm like, wow, that's crazy. Like, but God took his time, and I kept on living my life slowly but surely. Like I started getting convicted of things. I started meeting amazing people. And so then throughout this timeline is when I start to get plugged in. Never see these people that I saw at Central Park ever again until I get plugged into a dinner party. I end up in Justin's apartment. He doesn't remember me.
Really?
No. And I was like, oh my God, this is the guy
that is so funny. Wait, so it wasn't even him inviting you to dinner party. You ended up at that dinner party.
I ended up at that dinner party.
Wow.
Because I didn't even know what dinner party was.
Yeah.
They were like, oh, you should also come to this dinner party thing. I'm like, oh, cool. They like cook
Yeah.
I didn't know it was like
Yeah.
a Bible study. Like, it had
That
a
is
cool
so
name, and I
funny.
was like, oh, cool dinner party. They're gonna cook
Mhm.
and like we're gonna have fun. And so like he didn't remember me, and I didn't say anything until a year later of us being friends. Like, I told him the story, and he was like, wait, oh my gosh, and then
That
he
is
remembered.
so funny.
And it was like God connected everything.
Mm.
Because then we even ended up one of our dinner parties at a rooftop in that same street
Yeah.
that I had that like downfall night. And like I just felt when I got to that dinner party, God being like, see, like you hit rock bottom, but like I'll always take you to like higher.
Mhm.
And it was like quite literally like the rooftop, because the Jane also had a rooftop, but I never made it to the rooftop because they didn't let me in. But then so it was really, really beautiful.
That's really crazy. And it's like you can't even like attribute like you being to that apartment like to other people like forcing you to go.
No.
Like Justin didn't invite you. Like
No.
these people like weren't pushing you to go. It was literally the Lord moving behind the scenes to put all these pieces together. And that was the first time you were at dinner party the night that I met you.
I think it was one of the first night. Actually, it might have been the first night. I don't know. But yeah.
That is so funny.
Yeah,
So-
I'll never forget. I was like wearing my purple
Yeah, I
pants.
know. You were wearing your
sitting to
purple
my
pants. I
right.
know. And I just like, you were just sitting there and I was like, something about this girl. Like, I don't know what it is, but like, we're going to be friends. And at the time too, I had just moved to New York from California. I was going through my breakup, which you guys already know the full story of that one. But this was one of my first few nights in a small group at this church, working a new job, literally diving into a whole new world. And it was just so kind of the Lord because we were both kind of like, yeah, we don't really know many people here, but like I've been around for a little bit now. So it was just so crazy. And we talked that night about the Lord. I think I spoke a bit about the canvas. So
I will never forget that.
yo, when the Lord was speaking to me so much in my first year of following him, like it was like revelation after revelation after revelation. And like that night I had this like image of a blank canvas and the Lord painting our picture like with us. So like we're painting the picture, but the Lord is like guiding our hand to make the strokes and pick the colors and do all that stuff. And I was like thinking about how my life looked like my own beautiful photo. So I like came already with this canvas of a picture that like maybe was good, but the Lord was like, nah, like I want to like paint a new one with you. And we spoke a lot about that night. And so I want you to continue with your testimony now about, so you were in New York, we were doing the church thing, we were growing in the spiritual gifts. It was crazy. Like we were hearing people speak in tongues. We were like,
for the first time, mind you.
For the first time ever.
I was like,
which was,
what is this?
Which was so weird to think about.
I remember when you started praying in tongues for the first time, I was like, okay, so it must be real. She can't be making this up.
No, for real. Yeah, it was crazy. We were both just like having conviction after conviction and revelation after revelation, pruning. And like we were really being molded into new creations.
Oh, yeah.
And so from that point, you started growing. At this point, I probably like met Frank at around this time. And then this is where things like started moving.
Yeah, moving in a deeper way.
In a deeper way and also in like different ways.
Yeah, and like I feel like in a way where it's like you're comfortable and you don't want to like leave where you are. But like God's always calling us higher. Like I feel like it's like when people say you hit that roof. I feel like we both hit the roof.
We definitely did.
And that's nothing bad. Like, I feel like that's like God calling you to go higher.
Yep.
And so in this whole process, like then I got baptized, which was amazing. And Kim was there, which was a big blessing too. And like I said, I always want to emphasize this because I feel like new believers like always feel like they look at people that have been Christians. Because I remember that I did this a lot. Like I would see them raising their hand and I'd be like, I want to. But I don't know that I can. Like, I'm not pure enough. I'm not doing the correct things. Like
that's cool for them. Like, could never be me, though.
Could not, no. And so, like, I had that mindset a lot, especially, like, for getting baptized. And I remember when I was making that decision, the Lord was like, you're never going to be ready. Like, literally, you're never going to be ready.
Didn't you have a Bad Bunny concert that night, too?
Oh, yeah. So, that's where I was going. I literally, like, got baptized, and that same day I went to a Bad Bunny concert. Now, I would never do that, but, like, at the time, I thought it was a gift from the Lord. I was like, oh my gosh, yes! Jesus, this is my baptism gift. Like, so I get to go see Bad Bunny after I got baptized. I'm sure, like, all these people in my story were like, what is
girl?
Like, just got baptized and now going to a Bad Bunny concert. Like, now I'm just like, Nicole.
Did you feel any different at the concert?
It was crazy because like I felt like God needed that to happen because it was like night and day. I'd been looking forward to this concert, mind you, like for 7 months. I paid like $500 for this ticket, which is ridiculous. I don't know why I paid that much money for that ticket.
He's expensive,
yeah. But I felt like I was looking forward to this for so long, and when I got there, I was like, okay, this is cool, but like I had so much more fun at my baptism, and I felt like God being like, see, like it could be fun with me too.
Yeah.
Because like we have it in our heads, I feel like that when we suddenly become Christians, like we're gonna become boring and like we're not gonna be able to do all these fun things we used to do. But the Lord is so sweet because he'll take you through your process. Like he took me, like I still went to a Bad Bunny concert that same day. Like I still kept on going out, but I felt like through this process, like I would be out already baptized, already going to church, like, and I didn't feel bad about it. And I feel like that's really important to know that we can't judge other people for their process and their convictions because we all have different convictions. And I know we'll get to a point where we'll be like Jesus, but that's what it's all about. Like we're not perfect and we're all in different parts. But I remember like going back out and like seeing all these people. I wouldn't get as drunk, like I would just have one drink, like, but I'd still go out because I love music, and coming from Puerto Rico, like, you know,
it's a culture
in me. And so I would see all these people and I'd be like, oh my God, like my heart would hurt for them. I'd be like, oh, they're so lost, like they just need Jesus. Like I feel, and there was one point like I did start being like, have you guys ever been to church? Like, you know, when you're like a new Christian, you're just like, and
then, oh my gosh, let me tell you about my best friend. Jesus.
It was crazy. But I feel like after that process, like the Lord put on my heart, like I was working a corporate job, like you were saying, like life was perfect. Like we were doing a thing, like we were going to church.
It was the best.
Like we both had corporate jobs in New York City. Like
we were both single.
We lived like
for our future husbands. We lived in the same street.
Like it could not.
It could not have been better.
No. It just couldn't. And then there's always an then. And then the Lord was like, okay, Nicole, like I'm going to need you to like go further. And so I'm going to ask you to quit your job now. And I was like, I really doubted it because I mean, obviously I'm sure a lot of us want the Lord to tell us to quit our jobs. Yeah. But I was really sure. Like I was really sure it was him because I just felt like I was so looped into the whole like making money. You know, when you start like living a life that you're not even there yet, because New York does that too. You start buying things that like
you don't need.
Your budget is definitely not even there. Like you start going out. Like New York is great, but it also can get to you in that way. And so like God was like, okay, so I quit your job. And I was like, to do what? And so with God, like he'll never tell you that next step. And so I remember like I called my dad that day because I felt like I wasn't going to tell him, but God was like, you got to honor your parents. And I was like, oh boy. My dad was like, oh, what are you doing today? So I was like, oh, this, that, I'm quitting my job. And
he's like,
he was like, what? And I was like, yeah. And he got so mad. But anyway, long story short, like I called my manager, quit my job. He didn't let me quit. They told me like, what do you want? And at that point, God had given me a bit more clarity. He wanted me to move to Spain. And I was like, okay, listen, I need 2 weeks off. I am moving to Spain, want to work remote, and I only want to work part-time. So 2 hours later, he called me back and he was like, yeah, you got it.
Sounds good. See you in Spain.
And I was like, this is the Lord. Like, there's just no way. And so then moved to Spain. This was obviously a longer process, but like packed everything, sold everything, cried because they were just doing my story at C3. Like, you know what I mean? Like everything was perfect.
And you were leading small group.
I was leading a small group.
A Spanish small group.
A Spanish small group. It made no sense to leave.
No, it really didn't make sense.
It didn't make sense. And so packed my bags, sold everything, moved. And the Lord gave me clarity on what he wanted. He wanted me to go deeper with him in a place where I didn't know anyone and I could just like be with him. And so I did an internship program at Hillsong in Barcelona for 8 months. Things were amazing as well. No point for me to leave either. I grew a lot. That's where I feel like I met the Holy Spirit. And then God was like, okay, you're done. And I thought I was going to live there forever. But he took me out and he placed Puerto Rico in my heart. And he started placing a lot of other crazy things that now I'm living out that are just wild.
Yeah. It's like the Lord wanted you to grow away from people so that when you were to go back to your hometown, you could then like take all that oil and like pour it into your community, into your family. And so now talk about The Real Pause, because when you first started the brand, it wasn't necessarily a Christian brand. So like walk us through like what that whole process was like.
Yeah. So while I was at Parsons, I had to do a project for my thesis and I made this book called Pause. And I just like wanted people to share, you know, how proud they are of themselves. So everyone wrote like self-reflection letters from them to them. And the point was like, I wanted to help people find their identity. And, you know, I was like, how am I going to do that? And not being a Christian, obviously. And so when the Lord met me one night, he was like, you dummy, like you're not gonna help anyone find their identity. I'm gonna help them find their identity.
Amen.
And I was like, oh, this makes so much sense. And he basically like took it, turned it around, and basically now it's a ministry that helps people pause, spend time with the Lord to figure out like their identity in Jesus and what they're called to do. And so now it went from being like this brand that was cool with like hoodies and hats and whatever to it being like a ministry where now in Puerto Rico we go to hospitals and we serve our community. We go like with little kids in the hospitals. We do events for women. Like we, you know, like just create community around like
boots
Jesus
on the ground,
Yeah.
like really impacting like your people.
Yeah.
God's
and I
people.
knew that that's what I wanted to do. But not being a Christian, like there was a missing piece to it. Like I remember just like my mom would always be like, Nicole, but like what is it? And I was like, don't you understand? It's just like a place where people can do like introspection and like reflection and like they could just like find their identity. But in what? Like I was like,
but what is it rooted in?
Exactly.
Yeah. It's so funny. The Lord put this on your heart before you even knew the Lord and was like, great, now I'm going to use this for like my name and my glory.
Yep.
And also, you guys, like, please shop her products because they're so freaking cute. I love them. She has hoodies, hats, t-shirts, like bags, pens, like everything. Any product you could make, you've made something with the real pause on it.
Because I am a graphic designer, I feel like God has given me that gift too, where like I'm just like, I like that, I'm gonna make it, and then
then you just do. I love it. And your Instagram is so good too. You're like really running with like the series and the colors. Oh my gosh, it's so good. And I love the word Selah so much.
Yeah, that was another thing he gave me when he took me out of Barcelona and I traveled and I started preaching, which is insane because back to what I was saying earlier, hate being the center of attention because my whole life I've had eyes on me.
Like involuntarily.
Yeah.
Like unwanted people
I didn't
looking.
want it. I would cross the street and people would stare.
Yeah.
I'd be in a mall and people would stare. People still stare. But now I feel like they stare and I'm like, at least I see Jesus now. I'm like, whatever. Like, you know what I mean? And so when he took me to like all these places to start preaching, it was really hard because I would get triggered. Like I would be on stage and I'd be like, I would completely disassociate because I'd be like, oh my God, what are all these people staring at me? Like, it's so
like, what are they
scary.
thinking? Are they listening to what I'm saying or are they just looking at me?
Exactly. It was hard, but I feel like now I kind of understand what he's doing and he just wants me to share what I'm sharing now and what I'll continue to share for as long as he'll let me. And that's also where he gave me like the Selah. I never knew that was a thing. Like one of my best friends from Barcelona was like, do you know that there's a word in the Bible that means kind of the same thing in the Psalms? And I was like, no. And literally he gave me the word and I was like, wow. And so I mean, it's called the real pause, but essentially it's like Selah, like being in God's presence.
Pause in
and
his presence.
Yeah, pause in his
Selah.
presence.
I know. It's such a beautiful thing and I'm so proud of you. And honestly, guys, like if we could have done this interview 3 years ago, we would both look like different human beings. Like seriously, there was so many nights where you were just so frustrated with like your body and its capabilities and what it can and can't do. And the nights that you would just go to any person, any altar call and just like ask for prayer. Today's going to be the day that God heals me. Today's going to be the day that God heals me. And like we were believing in that and we still are believing in that. But the heart and the growth behind how you love yourself, regardless of if you get healed or not, shows leaps and bounds of like growth and maturity in Christ, but also just in yourself. Like you've really grown to like, I'm going to start crying.
I know, me too.
You've really grown to be like, God made me perfect. Like he made me this way. And I look at you and I'm like, I want you to be healed so bad. But I think your faith is so much more inspiring to me when you're not healed and when you are walking around. And when I do see you preaching up there and you don't look like the stereotypical preacher person, you know, like you have a story and you have real things going on in your life that people relate to. It's honest and it's raw and it's more effective than someone who's looks like they have it all on stage, picture perfect, no flaws, perfect marriage, perfect home, perfect kids. I can't relate to that person as much as I can relate to you, you know? And it's just been so amazing seeing you grow and own your authority and own your identity. It's been like the coolest journey.
Yeah. I mean, it's still hard. I'm not going to lie. Like, I'm not going to sit here and be like, yeah, I'm totally fine with the fact that I'm still not healed. Like, I have some stories for you. Like, I have a whole nother podcast on that. Like, it's just like, it's hard sometimes because it's like, you still have that humanity too that's like, but like, why not?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm asking for it. Like,
yeah, like you can do it, God. So like, why aren't you
I've
doing
seen other people, like, I'm like, why not me? And I've had experiences where people are like, oh, you don't have the faith for it. Maybe they won't say it like that, but they're like, is there any like sin here? And I'm like, no,
Like,
I'm really
bruh.
good. Like, I'm seriously fine. I've had like people pray like 10 times, like, okay, like, let me just do it one more time. Like, I've never seen God not do it. Like, and I'm like, I've had very traumatic experiences. I'm like, I'm writing a book, which like, I don't even know when it's gonna come out, but like, I have all those stories in there because I feel like they're important, especially to people. Like, if you're believing for a miracle, don't let someone else tell you the timeline because they're not God. Like, they don't know what God's plan is. They don't know. Like, I've always had this conviction of like, I know deep down when God is gonna heal me. Like, I know that it's gonna be, and I'm not saying this because like I want to blow up, but like, I know that God is gonna like expose me to a lot of people like the way I am. So then when He heals me, all those people will come to know Him.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if that makes sense. Like, all my family that still is in the process, like people that are like Thomas that need to touch the wound. It's like they need to meet me how I am so that then when they see me healed, there's no medical cure. You know what I mean? It's like one of those things that's like whenever it happens, it's gonna be better.
It's gonna be on God's timing, and it's gonna not only be for you, it's gonna be also for other people.
Yeah.
Like, you're just the vessel in which other
Exactly.
people can see the glory of God.
Yeah. And there's times that I'm like, I would rather know that I'm gonna stay with it or not. Like, does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like, there are times that I'm like, okay, like if I'm gonna have it forever, just like tell me.
Yeah.
But that's not faith. Like, you know what I mean? That's like,
Yeah.
like whenever, God, like if it's tomorrow, if it's never, if it's when I get to heaven, like it still hurts and it's still like a very thing that I deal with every day because it's like I walk and my back hurts. Like yesterday when we went to this concert in Central Park, like I could do it, but I get like overly exhausted. And I mean, I still get in my head about like people waiting for me and stuff like that, but I feel like now it's less because I have Him and He's like, hey, like I'm not gonna put people around you that are gonna make you
Yeah.
so.
Yeah. I'm so proud of you.
Mm.
Okay, I had a question. I feel like it just like slipped my mind. So like going back to you talking about people praying and for your healing, and it's like I admire people's faith and wanting to pray for people, but it's also like deep down for them, like they want to be the ones to heal someone. It's like, oh, it's my turn now. Like I have this gift of healing. Like, God, do your thing so like I can be the one to heal her. It's honestly like highly offensive too. Like when people just like come up to you and start praying for your healing, like how does that make you feel?
It just makes me annoyed sometimes.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, the Lord really asked you to pray for me?
Yeah.
Like, I once was in Mexico and this guy, he is the first time that I genuinely appreciated a prayer for my healing. Because he was like, he met me.
Is
and
this
he
the
was
guy
like,
with the baptism? He came and got baptized? Oh no, that was in Spain. Sorry, never mind.
no, you're good. Wait, what guy?
Remember the guy, I think he was like a homeless guy that you were bringing and he got baptized?
No, it wasn't him, but wow, yeah, that was beautiful.
Yeah.
No. I was in Mexico and I like took this little like boat by myself to like go to this church and I met this guy there and he was like, wow, like I really want to pray for your healing. Like I know the Lord can do it, but I'm not going to do it because first I need to ask Him if I can pray for you. And I was like, wow, I'd never heard that before.
Yeah.
Because it's true. Sometimes the Lord doesn't want you to pray for someone. I mean, I know that, don't take that out of context, but like in a way, like maybe it's just not the moment, or maybe it's just like a prophetic word that you have to keep for yourself. Like people are really quick to like, the Lord spoke and now I need to speak. It's like, no, like the Lord needs to tell you the timing of it too. So when He told me that, I was like, wow. So now I've learned to also, my sisters have always told me, Nicole, you don't need to receive prayer from everyone.
Yeah, it's true.
And that is hard to me because I am still a recovering people pleaser. And so how do you are just going to tell someone, they're like, hey, can I pray for you? I'm like, no. Like, you know what I mean? Like there have been times that people pray for me and they're like, okay, like test it. Oh my goodness. I really get fumed by that. Like, I'm like, I know my body, like I'm not going to get up. Like it's still there. Like, and that really makes me sad because sometimes I get in my head and I know the enemy has access through that because then I'm like, wow, it's my faith. I don't have the faith to believe it. Some people, I hear them praying for me and I'm like, I wish I had that same faith. Why don't I have it? And I struggle with that like a lot. I probably should pray for myself more, but I don't, like, because I'm like, whatever, like if God wants to, like He will. Maybe I should be more intentional now talking about it to pray for myself. But it really hurts me when people are like with that intention. You almost can discern when people just like want to see it for what you were saying, like, oh, I did it. Like I healed her and it's like,
I know. And it's like we were both a part of a very, very charismatic church, and like we've talked so much about like the damage I feel like it did to like my faith because I was very much like spiritual gifts, Holy Spirit, like borderline Pentecostal, but not having the root of theology and not really like letting my roots be in fertile soil on like very solid ground. And I had this revelation where the Lord was like, your seeds are falling on rocky soil. Like the birds are coming to take it away, and like whatever has been rooted, like doesn't really stay there. It gets uprooted very quickly. And that's because a lot of my theology was like how I feel and how I feel and how I feel. So I'm saying all this to say, when you grow and mature with the Lord, just you and him, things don't have to be so, you know what I mean? If your healing comes, the Lord remembers your prayers. Like you don't have to pray every single day, Lord, please heal me one day. You say it once, the Lord's like, I will honor that.
Well, also, like, the Lord is so sweet. You don't even sometimes have to pray for things.
Yes.
You'll think it for 1 millisecond and he, like, answers it.
Yeah.
Like, has that ever happened to you? Like, with
100%.
I'm like
things, I'm just like thinking about things that are on my heart. Like he knows what's in our hearts. He knows the thoughts before we even say them. So you don't have to like work for something. Like God can just heal you literally in an instant. He could heal you overnight. He could heal you on your walk to the grocery store. He could heal you in your car. And he can heal you like also in a season where you're not even seeking him. It's like you don't have to be putting yourself in these positions, in these big moments, in these altar calls to get a healing. Yes, those things totally happen and they're amazing when they do, but they're not a requirement for the Lord to heal you. The Lord can do anything at any time, any place, because he's omniscient, he's omnipresent, and he's sovereign. And so that's what makes me mad for you. Hear you talk about people who just constantly just want to pray for your healing in new churches and stuff. Like again, they probably have the right heart behind it, but it's like, why are we running up to every single person?
that is such a good thing that I want to touch on. I again was in Mexico. I love Mexico. And I went to this conference in Monterrey where Randy Clark was at. He's the guy from Bethel that like heals.
Sounds familiar.
Yeah. But so anyway, if you're disabled, you'll understand like when people are like, oh, there's a disabled area. And you're just like, I don't want to consider myself like disabled, but like I do want to be closer. So I'm gonna sit here. But anyway, so I sat there and usually, you know, you can only sit with one person and I went with like 10 friends. So I felt kind of like alone. But one of my friends came with me and he sat with me and we were there and they were going to do an altar call like for people that needed healing. And I just did not feel in my heart at all to get up. Like I was like, no, I'm staying right here. Probably 10 of my friends came over to the disabled section. I love you guys. Like if you are hearing this, like I love you and I appreciate like, you know, your faith for you know, coming over. But I just want to be truthful of how I felt in the moment because I feel like it's important to talk about. Like not a lot of people share their emotion when things like this happen. They just pretend like they're okay because they don't want to be like that person that just didn't believe that could get the healing. So they all come over and they're like, do you want us to like take you to the front to get like prayed for by him because he's like
because he's the healer,
he's the guy. And I was like in my head was yelling no, but I was like, oh, I mean, and they were like, come on, and I was like,
you're like, today could be the day, God.
This
could be the
that
moment,
and exactly, it was like this, like my head was like no, but then I was like, but what if I'm the one that says no now and like this is the moment? Anyway, so literally they like all like surround me and they're like pushing the people to get me to the front, like, and they got me to the front and like Randy Clark prayed for me. And I promise you, Kim, like I was there and he was like praying over me and I felt nothing. Literally nothing. Like I was just there like talking to God like, well, I feel really ridiculous right now. Like I
you know what I would respect so much if Randy Clark really had the time to speak to the Lord and be like, not yet, go back to your feet. Not yet.
Yeah.
I would respect someone so much more. Like I totally get like healing is probably in that room. There's probably people who got healed that day.
And they did.
And they did.
And I'm not saying that God can't use Randy Clark. Like I'm not saying that. And I hope that's his name. Yeah. I'm pretty sure that's his name. I get really confused with like but like, you know what I mean? Like I'm not like a Christian that knows like all these names. I'm like, I don't even know who you are. But so anyway, like when I was there and he was praying for me, like I felt so bad. Like I wanted to cry. Like honestly, I was just like, and then when he was done, like obviously like it was like all these cameras on me, like because obviously like it was a big conference and like, you know, they're recording everything and like I was just like, again, like attention.
So much pressure.
And, yeah. and like no healing.
Yeah.
Like I just like walked away, walking the way I walked in, and then all my friends were like, oh, like how'd you feel? Like how cool? Like, and I was like, I mean, yeah, I'm fine. Like it's totally like whatever. And like it was just, I felt horrible. Like, and then I remember that I kept getting like poked in the wound, because like that was one day of the conference, and then the second day was the part that I was saying earlier about this guy that came over and was like, can I pray for your legs? Like, because I have one leg that's longer than the other, and he like sat me in a chair and was like trying to like pray for one leg to grow, and it didn't 5 more times. Like I was like, okay buddy, like I'm missing the conference, like please stop praying for me.
I want to listen to the sermon.
like you know, like how many more times like are you gonna pray for me, like like before you let me leave? And he was the one that was like, oh, like maybe you have to repent of something and whatever. And that was like, that conference to me was like, I got broken. But the Lord is so sweet, because in that moment when that guy was praying for me, and I read my Bible, I should probably read it more, but like I knew it was from the Lord because he reminded me of the story of Lazarus. And I remember I told the guy, I was like, I appreciate you for praying for me, but I feel like the Lord doesn't want to do a healing in my life. He wants to do a resurrection. And I was like, what the heck just came out of my mouth? Like, I was like, wow, that's deep. And then I explained to him, I was like, listen, like, if he would just heal me, like, not as many people would get to know who he is. Like, I just really feel like I need to live my process a little bit more until he resurrects me. Because, like, if Lazarus would have been healed, not all the people would have been at his funeral to see the resurrection.
Come on, girl.
And I was like, whoa, that is a big, big, big revelation.
That is the Lord right there.
And I told him that, and I walked away, and I like went, sat in my chair, and the next day, I kid you not, Kim, Bill Johnson preaches that same message. He goes, if you haven't received your healing yet, that's because the Lord wants to do a resurrection in you. And I was like,
that's amazing.
I was like, the Lord told me first. Like, you know, like,
that's amazing.
He's so sweet, because, and I'm not trying to be like, oh, the Lord told me before, like he told, you know, the guy that was preaching, like, but more so, like I was so broken from the 2 days prior of like all this, like that the Lord was like, you hear me, and you know what I've talked over you about your healing.
Yeah. So don't let
so
people,
don't worry.
Don't let people poo-poo all over it.
Exactly. Like, it's fine. I want to do a resurrection. I don't want to do just a healing. And hold on to that.
So do you feel like now you've been a little bit more like, you've created a little bit more of a boundary when you go to like these conferences and
100%. I mean, I still need to practice the whole like, I'm good, thanks.
Yeah.
But I feel like I don't let it get into the dark hole where I start spiraling, and I'm like,
because you're like, God, you're like sitting there receiving prayer, you're like, Lord, I know that you've got me. Like,
exactly.
Let this person pray, whatever.
Exactly.
Like, if you're gonna do it, you'll do it. But like, me and you are good. I hear from you. You love me, and that's all that really matters.
And then I'll just like, while they're praying, I'll be like, Lord, if this is from you, like I'll receive it, and if it's not from you, like let it just slip by. And like, because again, like you don't want to let just anyone pray for you, and that's something that I've learned. Like, you don't want to let just anyone like put their hands on you. Like, I'm not saying they have bad intentions, but like you just gotta discern.
It really is crazy. Now that I live on Staten Island, I'm a part of a church that's definitely more Baptist and more evangelical. So there aren't these altar calls. There aren't these big moments of prayer. And I almost feel like I grew a lot more in my faith coming out of a very charismatic environment, because I just needed to be balanced. Like I said before, my scales were tipped so far in the Pentecostal space that now it needed to be tipped so far in the other way that now I have the perfect balance of the both. And like that comes with discerning everything, discerning prophetic words. Like, what actually is a prophetic word? Like, we have to go back to scripture to actually be like, what is a prophetic word? We have to be very careful with who we allow to speak into our lives, because the devil can use anyone. The devil can use a Christian on a bad day. Like, you woke up on the wrong side of the bed, you're feeling a little impatient, whatever. Like, the devil can use that to hurt someone else. You have to be very guarded, and you have to test everything that comes your way. Prophetic words, healings, things like that. It all has to be tested. That's why discernment is such a crucial part of the Christian walk. But that comes with alone time with Jesus. It comes through being refined by the fire. And over the past few years, like, we've walked with each other through the furnace of affliction in a lot of situations. And it's just like, I'm so proud of where we both are now in our faith, because I feel like we're both in such a healthy perspective of God and theology and what it means to be a Christian, what it means to love other people. And it's just like, it's really encouraging. I want to like just smack everyone in the face who's like ever hurt both of us in the Christian space, because it's just, it stinks. It
It
stings.
does, but God uses it always for
always
the
does.
better.
Always, always, always. That's what he does. I never talked about like my church hurt situation on here from a previous church that I was at, but the Lord redeems literally everything. He really does. Any person who comes in the nameth of the Lord that hurts you, like they're also a human being as well. They're also on a journey, and we have to look at these people and have empathy and love
Yeah.
for them because they're also just human like we are. If you're in a position of power or you're in a leadership position, it doesn't matter. Like we're all equal in the eyes of the Lord, and we're all on our own journey. We all have a different timeline for things. Some of us get married super young. Some of us are going to be single forever. Some people are going to have children. Some aren't. Some are going to be missionaries. Some are just going to serve in their local church. Like, you know what it is? It's like we're all part of the body. And I just wish that everyone had a more balanced perspective
Yeah.
of the two things, you know?
Yeah, because I feel like everyone thinks that like serving the Lord is like preaching or like, having this big ministry, but it's like,
Or having a specific gift.
exactly. But I feel like I heard this from a mom the other day and they were like, this is my ministry, my 3 kids. And I'm like, whoa.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and then someone told me once too, like, you could be like just ministering to one person, but you don't know who that one person is going to minister to. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so why put all this pressure on, like, oh, I have to, like, just really pray and, like, ask the Lord for discernment. Like, what is he calling you to? Like, what gifts are really the ones that, like, you should walk in?
Yeah, comparison really killed me a lot because we talked about this so much when we were first like really diving into our faith. I was like, I don't feel moved in the way that other people feel or vice versa. Like I feel very, very, very moved in worship. Like it's what the Lord has gifted me with song and a voice and like the gift of like leading worship. But then there's other times like before I even had tongues or whatever, I was like, it's just not working. Like it's just I don't feel the inclination to do those things. I also never felt an inclination to like be a pastor. And I felt so much guilt with that because a lot of the people around me were like, you have like a gift, like you have a gift, like of speaking to people and like ministering to them. And I was like, yeah, but I don't want to be is being a pastor the only option for me? I don't want to do that. Like, I don't want to do that. I don't feel called to do that. It was like trying to fit like a round hole in like a square peg a lot of the time with what ministry could look like. And I thought that my path was going to be like worship leader, ministry person, going like being full time on staff at a church. And it's just not where the Lord put me. And I felt so much more freedom when I let those things go. And I just started to be like, God, what do you want me to do?
Yeah.
And he was like, yeah, talk about cooters on the internet. And I was like, okay, perfect. That's what it's going to be. That's going to be my ministry. But the thing is, like, I thought ministry had to look one way, and I thought ministry had to be far and wide versus like narrow and deep into the roots. And that's like the message that we're trying to like say to you guys as we like wrap up this podcast is your ministry could be one person or it could be 500,000 people. It just has to be what the Lord put in your hands to steward. Your ministry is growing, and it's like the Lord has you in a million different places right now.
Oh boy,
you're
yeah.
exactly where you need to be. Like every day I'm like, what country is Nicole in today? This girl is on the move, but that's because this is what the Lord is asking you to do.
Yeah, and it's maybe for a season. You just gotta enjoy it. Like you don't know for how long like the Lord is calling you to do certain things. I know that right now I'm single and like I don't have a family. Like I can travel. I don't have to ask anyone for permission. So I'm gonna live in that. But once the Lord is like, okay, like here it is, and I feel like that is coming soon, then you just walk in that. So
He's got to be faithful with what he is putting in your hands to steward.
Yeah.
And you're a living testimony of the glory of the Lord. And
Amen.
it's been so
So
cool
are you.
watching you grow and speak to other people and you developing a heart for people in your own community. Like that's what's really hard. Like for a while, you guys, Nicole did not want to be around disabled people.
Oh, no.
She was like, nope,
I
I'm
was-
not going to associate with it. I get it though. Cause like when I was going through like my chemo treatment and stuff, I did not want to be near a cancer patient. I was like, get me away from these people. I don't want to be grouped in with them. But then the Lord breaks your heart for what breaks his. And there's no one better to speak into those people other than you.
Amen.
Because
And
you've been through it.
and I feel like that's something that is like really important, that I feel like you guys should really sit with him, because whatever it is that you're running away from is probably where the Lord wants to use you. Like,
Yeah, he wants you to run to that.
and it's like, I remember when I would get prophetic words about like, you're gonna be speaking to like disabled people about the gospel, and I was like, I haven't even read the Bible and I hate disabled people. So I mean, not anymore, because I am, but like, it's just like you want to run away from the things that like
Yep.
the Lord is calling you to. And so it's like taking time to sit with him and ask him, like, okay, like, if I'm gonna be called to do this thing, like, you're gonna have to give me the strength, because for the longest time, like, guys, I didn't talk about my disability. Like, I couldn't sit here with Kim and just share my story without crying, because it just like meant that I hadn't accepted it for what it is. And so I think sometimes before the Lord takes you to these places where you're gonna speak, where you're gonna influence other people, he has to heal you first. And I'm not saying that I'm completely healed, not only physically but emotionally. Like, it's like you have to be healed also, like, with him, in order to then help people get healed, him using you like in those things that you don't want to necessarily do in the moment. And then there's so much like goodness to it once you like truly have healed enough to do it, because you can't also wait to be completely like good, because then you'll never do it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm like really scared when I like have to preach, because it's the sense of like, like people are staring at me, I'm the center of attention, like, but it's like you're doing it with him. Like, it's always like he meets me like right before I grab the mic, like I'm like shaking, and then I grab the mic and I'm like, all right, I'm ready. Like, God's here. Like, I can do this. Like, because it's not me. Like, I hear myself sometimes, I like play myself back, like to self-criticize myself, which like just be like, okay, I could do better here. But I'm like, I hear myself and I'm like, that is like
That's
not
Jesus.
me. Like, it's impossible that I know that much, or like that I have such strong convictions about these things, because I'll hear myself and then the humanity in me is like, but I don't believe that yet. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, sometimes you'll speak something to people and then you'll hear yourself again. You're like, but I don't truly believe that yet. But it's like, that's how you know, like, Holy Spirit is talking through you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So tell everyone where they can find you on socials.
Yeah. So you can follow us at The Real Pause in Instagram. And then if you want to follow my own page, my name's Nicole Flower with 2 R's. And we have a website, we have merch, we have all the stuff. We have events in Puerto Rico. If you're ever in Puerto Rico, you can just DM me and I will receive you. We just moved to a new house called the Up House. Like, up because it's going to be floating in God's glory.
Amazing.
Like, but yeah, so
That's awesome.
Thanks for having me again, Kim. I love you.
I love you too.
I love you.
I love you.